Hello and welcome back to MBWK. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to eliminate flashback or the excessive charring on the back of your cutouts when it comes to cutting materials. This is a cutout from the same material but using a honeycomb bed, and this is without. So what we're getting is extreme charring on the backs of our cuts. So the reason why you're probably getting this charring is because you have your workpiece that you're trying to cut out sandwiched against something else. So there's no airflow between the layers. So to eliminate all of this charring, what we're going to have to do is, with a honeycomb bed, is place your workpiece on the top of it, and that gives an airflow that the fumes can be extracted out from underneath it. And although this won't eliminate everything, it will make a drastic difference. So what this video is going to be about today is, if you don't have one of these, I'm going to show you how to make your own one, just like this. Now you can make this out of scraps of MDF, anything that's kind of the same thickness. I used 3 sheets of 3mm MDF, 400 by 400. Now you don't have to go to the extent where I have made the gaps in between these 20mm, or just over an inch, just under an inch. You can do it so you miss out every other one, and you can have a 40mm gap. It will use less material and it will take less time on your laser engraver, because it will take time to make this. But if you don't have a honeycomb bed, you can make one very easily. I'm going to take you over to Lightburn and I'm going to show you how to create that design right now. Right, first of all, I'm just going to take these gloves off. The only reason why I was using those is because I haven't cleaned my honeycomb bed and it stinks and it's sticky, but here we are. So first of all, what we're going to do is come across to the polygon tool. We're going to hold Control and Shift and drag it out so we have a asymmetrical polygon. We're going to come across to Shape Properties in the bottom window. There should be a tab either on the very bottom or in the middle. If you don't have this, you can come across to the top, find the window tab. If you click on that, that'll give you a drop down menu and you'll find Shape Properties fairly close to the bottom. So just click on that and that'll give you the window in the right hand side. So where it says sides, we're going to change that 6 to a 3, and that's going to give us our triangle. At the moment it's upside down, so if we select the triangle and press the period key until it's pointing upwards, the period and the comma key just rotates your design 90 degrees. So once we've done that, we just need to make sure that the padlock is closed. That's going to hold our aspect ratio. We're going to come across to width and we're going to type in 20mm. After that, we're going to come to the rectangle tool. We're going to hover on the left hand corner of the triangle. We're going to click and drag and hold Shift at the same time, and that's going to give us a perfect square. And we're just going to come across to the right hand side of the triangle and release the mouse click. That's going to give us a perfect 20mm square. From there, what we're going to do is unlock this padlock, and we're going to go to the height and make this 5mm. Hit enter, and we're going to click on the left hand top corner and snap that to the left hand corner of the triangle. So from there, what we're going to do is click and drag to select both of our components, and we're going to come across to the weld tool, click that, and now it's going to become one piece. What I like to do is just move this shape to the far left hand side of my working area. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the array tool, and we're going to make sure that the distance from center to center is selected, and in X columns we're going to make this 20, and you'll see that it will go from edge to edge. If you hit OK, all of these shapes are now replicated in the same manner. So what we're going to have to do next is select all of them and click weld, and you'll now notice that all of these vertical lines have now disappeared. You just need to double check to make sure that they have all disappeared, because sometimes there is a line left in and you'll have to go back and weld it individually. So at the moment we have this basic shape without the notches cut in, and now we're going to create the cutouts so that these fit together. Now, in order to do that, we have an overall height of 22.3 mil. So at the moment, our height is 22.320. You can make this as high as you want to. You can make it an inch, you can make it 25 mil, you can make it 20 mil like I have done. So from here, we're going to take our rectangle tool. We're going to come across to the point of our triangle. We're going to click and drag, and whatever the thickness your material is, in my case it is 3 mil. For the width, you are going to type in your material thickness. Now, I made the total height of mine 20 mil, so I'm going to make my cutout 10 mil high. Again, you just need to do half of whatever the height is that you chose. And if I duplicate this by hitting Ctrl and D, we can move this down, and we shall see that it's now exactly halfway. So what we're going to need to do is duplicate this shape that we made to begin with. Just going to select that, hold Ctrl and press D, and that's going to make a copy of it. We're just going to bring it down so it's out of the way. With the other rectangle that we have duplicated before, we're going to bring that down and make sure it's selected so it hits our bottom edge. So from there, just going to zoom out, we're going to select our rectangle, our first slot. We're going to come across to the array tool, and once again we need to make sure that distance from center to center is the same, and we are going to select 20 once again. And now you can see that the array tool has filled out our slots for the top section all the way across our shape. I'm going to hit OK, and that's going to give us all of our rectangles in the right place. What we can do is select everything, hold Control and click the original shape that we drew before just to deselect it, and we can group all of these rectangles together now. If we then click on the shape we generated before, we can come across to the Boolean subtract tool, and it's gone the wrong way. If we hold Control and press C, that will undo that selection, and if we press it again, it's now reverted to the way that we want it. So what we're going to do is do exactly the same for our bottom slot. We're going to select it, come across to the array tool, select 20 on the X columns, and as you can see, it's filled out in the center of each one. And just remember, we need to keep this distance from center to center exactly the same. Once again, we're going to select everything on that bottom layer, hold Control and select the first shape we generated just to deselect it, and then we're going to hit group right at the very top, group everything together. That's all of our rectangles grouped together now. Select everything on the bottom row, then go to the Boolean subtract tool, and now our slots have been removed. So now once we have cut these out, these are going to slot in so they pair up with one another. Right, now that we have our slots cut out top and bottom, what we're going to need to do is find our offset so these slot together really nicely. We don't want our joints to be extremely tight, so we don't want it so tight that we have to force them together like this. Okay, and that's a 0.1 mil kerf. So what we do want, get that back together, is something that just slots together nicely, because we don't want to be faffing around assembling this. And the other reason why we don't want it extremely tight is because if for any reason you want to replace one of them, it's going to be nice and easy to take apart. So what we're going to need to do is come across to the layer tab. If we double click on that, you'll find here where it says kerf offset. And I know from previous projects and my kerf tests that I've done a multitude of, I know that to get a fairly sloppy fit, you can use glue. When it comes to my diode laser, it's going to be roughly 0.08 millimeters of kerf offset. 0.08. Make sure that it goes outwards. So what it's going to do is kerf offset, when it's set to outwards, is it's going to leave material on when it comes to going around the perimeter of the design. Basically, kerf offset set to outer is going to make your slots tighter, and kerf offset inwards is going to make your joints looser. So now that you have set your kerf to your desired offset, we're just going to pair these with a small gap in between our layers, and we're going to group these two layers together. And I'm actually going to bring this down to the bottom of our workspace. We're going to come across to our array tool, and instead of the X columns, we're going to go to the Y, and we're going to bring this up until it fills our workspace. Right, so if we were to select everything on our workspace and we go to the preview menu, you're going to see that it's going to take 1 hour and 38 minutes, and that's at 300 millimeters per minute. If your laser is going to work slower than that, what I would do is maybe just cut out half, and instead of going every one, you can place one in, miss one, and place the next one in. So it'll be every other strip. You'll only need half the amount of strips to make this. So if you don't have 3 sheets of 400 by 400 by 3 millimeter MDF, you can actually do this out of offcuts, so long as the offcut is over 400 by 20 mil, you'll be able to get a single strip out of this. If you were to miss every other one, you will need 20 bits in total, I think. So if you were to make this complete, you would need 40 strips. If you were to miss every other one, you would only need 20. Hopefully this video has helped you out. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed already, and because you've watched this entire video, YouTube thinks that you'll like this video next.